Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing an updated showing you guys all the books on my physical TBR video. So I've done two of these videos in the past. I made one last summer and then like a while before that, but I thought it would be fun to kind of give you guys a little update on how things are going, how many books I have on my physical TBR as of this moment. I also find these videos to be really helpful for me personally because even though I can take a look at my shelves and have like a general idea of what books I have that I haven't read yet, I find it to just be more beneficial to like physically take them off my shelves and put them in stacks in front of me. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. I feel like it's just gonna be a really good way for me to like see where I am with things. I also probably am going to maybe unhaul a couple of books as I go through my shelves. I don't think I have too many that I would like to get rid of, but I do think there are a couple of books that I have already read that I wanna get rid of, so I thought I could probably just throw that in here as well. So I'm excited. I feel like recently I've been like somewhat doing a decent job of cutting down on my physical TBR. I feel like I was really like hitting it hard in the beginning of the year, and that was nice, but I also feel like my reading somewhat suffered for it because there were just like so many books that I wanted to read that I didn't have copies of that I couldn't get from the library. So I was like, what do I do with this information? So I feel like I've kind of become a little bit more lax with book buying. I don't know. It's just like, it's a balance that I'm sure we're all trying to find, and I am too trying to find it. Also, I feel like this will probably act as like a mini updated bookshelf tour because a couple of you guys have asked me for an updated bookshelf tour, but I don't really want to do like the whole thing this summer. I'll probably do an updated one next summer, but like for now, I probably won't. However, going through all these shelves will probably be like a mini bookshelf tour. So if you don't care about the books on my physical TBR, there's that. A little something for everybody. So now I'm gonna stop yapping and we are going to go through all of my bookshelves. All right, so since the last time I did this video, I did get shelf extenders on top of my bookshelf, so I don't know if there's a way that I can like properly show you what's up there, but for the time being, it doesn't matter because the only things I have on this upper shelves are my volumes of Yona and just like other random volumes of manga that I have. So that's unimportant. However, I do have books on this shelf that I have not read yet. It's like 3 of them. So we have Ship of Magic, just a bunch of Robin Hobb. I feel like I always want to say Robin Hobb for like the fall times almost. Like I never want to pick up high fantasy in the summer. So I'm really hoping I can get back into the Farseer trilogy. Like, ooh, just gonna take, what am I gonna do with you? I'm just gonna move this. Be better that way. Kind of had that plant wedged between like my stack of books and the bookshelf, so I should have realized that was gonna happen, but I don't know what I was saying. But these 3 books, I've not read these 3 books, but I want to read at least Royal Assassin this year. All right, and then on this shelf of my little mass market paperbacks, I think I've read all of this stack, but I did recently get a bunch of the paperbacks for the Discworld series, and I have not read a Discworld book in a little bit, but I'm gonna get back into it eventually. However, for the time being, I do have a lot of them that I haven't read, but they're so cute. Look at them. I love these covers, even though there are so many of them that are unread. I also have In the Company of Witches, which I'm gonna read very soon. And then this shelf is my Infernal Devices shelf and Ghost of the Shadow Market. Obviously, I've read all of these. Then over here we have my Heartstopper shelf, which I've obviously read all of these. And then this next shelf is kind of like a new addition to my bookshelves. I put the normal dust jackets back on Twilight because I really like the black and red for fall. It's very moody, very vampire, vampiric, shall we say. And then I just have like other black and red, purple, whatever kind of books I have. The only one on here though that I haven't read is Reckless by Lauren Roberts. Then down here we have like my pictured coffee table, whatever style books you want to call them. I don't think there are too many books on this little shelf that I haven't read. I think the only one is this little My Neighbor Totoro book that Cass gifted me a while ago, and I do still want to read this because I do love My Neighbor Totoro, but it's kind of just like a novelized version of the movie, I think, so it should be fun if I ever, you know, get to it. Then moving back up to the top, I have my pink and purpley shelf, and then my little red, white, and black shelf. I think every book that's up here right now I've read. And then the only books on this shelf that I haven't read, I think it's just One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. So these 2 shelves are a win. Then moving down a couple of shelves, I have just like cool toned paperbacks, I guess, and my Infernal Devices and Last Hour shelf. Obviously all the books on this shelf have been read. I have way too many editions of this series. We don't have to talk about it. But I definitely have books on this shelf that I've not read. such as Tales from Earthsea. We have The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter, which I do really want to read this fall. Spinning Silver I haven't read. Winterwood I DNF'd, but I don't think I'm going to. I don't know if I'm gonna ever get back into it, honestly. So for the time being, I'm just gonna like keep it on here because I've read like half of it, which I'm considering good enough for me. Let's see. We have some others in this stack. I have A Winter's Promise, which I'm saving for winter. I am very excited about it. Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. One of these days, I'll get to it. The Moonday Letters by Emilia Taranta. I had a video where I was gonna read this. Initially, I was gonna do a video where I was gonna read the most and least popular books on my physical TBR based on the number of Goodreads ratings. And I was so excited because I was gonna get to this book. I was like, oh, finally, like, I'll have a reason to read this. And that video didn't happen. And then when I bought this book initially, I bought it for a video where I was gonna read sci-fi for a week, and I didn't do that one either. So I suppose this book just represents my failed video concepts. But one of these days, I do want to read this because I bought it because it sounded interesting. I just feel like I'm never in a sci-fi mood. I don't know. That's something for me to work out. And then we have another book which I really, really want to read because I know so many people absolutely love it, and it is The Sword of Kaigen by Emma Wang. One of these days, I promise, I do want to read this. And then again, we are moving down to... This used to be my favorite bookshelf, but now it's just kind of like a bunch of blue and navy books, but I have read... Actually, have I read the majority of these? I think there are just two that I haven't read, which are Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor, which is a book that I want to read in November, so hopefully that'll happen. And then also Cytonic by Brandon Sanderson. I just really need to read the novellas that take place in the Skyward series before I get to this. But the book that has all three of the novellas in it is so long, and it's always very intimidating to me, even though I know I'm gonna like it. So this one cannot happen until I read that one, but it will happen eventually. I feel like I'm gonna say that about all these books, like, oh, you know, eventually. And then this shelf, I think I've also read the majority of these. There might just be three that I haven't read. The first one being Malice by John Gwynne. I just have not been in a super high fantasy mood recently, but I think when the weather gets colder later in the year, I will be. And then I also have not read Within the Sanctuary of Wings by Marie Brennan. I started it, but that counts for nothing. And I think this is it. So there were only two, so that's good. And then down here we just have a random amalgamation. Is that the right word? Amalgamation? I don't know. We have a random selection of fantasy books. The ones I haven't read being The Fragile Threads of Power, which again I would like to read this year still. I've not read Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor. I haven't read The Will of the Many or The Book That Wouldn't Burn. And that's it. And now the shelf looks super sad. And then moving over here, again, I do have a top shelf up there, but it only has like a Studio Ghibli picture book on it. So that's like, that doesn't count towards my physical TBR. But then we have my little Dark Academia shelf. The only one that I haven't read is In These Hallowed Halls. I think I've read a singular story out of this because the main reason I bought it was to read Emil Rio's story that was in this one. And I did read that one and I liked it. I just haven't gotten to the rest of them. However, I would like to obviously read some more this fall. Then this next shelf is going to be a doozy, so I'm going to set this one down. Because this shelf holds all of my classics, like tiny versions of classics, I suppose you would say. Alright, so I know I have not read Jane Eyre or Wuthering Heights. I have not read To Be Read at Dusk by Charles Dickens. These I've read. I've not read Flush by Virginia Woolf. These poetry collections, I don't think I'm gonna count towards my physical TBR, just because my main goal with poetry collections is not to just like completely finish them all in like a super timely manner. Like these are books that I'm like, I just wanna like read them slowly, you know, so I don't think I'm gonna count them. But the ones that I have are The Great Cat, poems about cats, which is so cute. And then I also have Poems Bewitched and Haunted. And I swear if I do not pick this up this Halloween time, I hope something does haunt me. I've read both of these. I've read this one and I've read that one. So the three I have that I have not read are The Turn of the Screw, The Hound of the Baskervilles, and A Tale of Two Cities. I'm contemplating unhauling this copy of A Tale of Two Cities because why do I need this? I don't know why I need this. Literally the only reason I have it is because it like matches this edition of Northanger Abbey that I have, But I'm like, I haven't even read A Tale of Two Cities. Why do I own 2 copies of it? This one might have to go. I think I'll unhaul this one. Which means I had, actually, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be because I only have 5 off of that shelf that I haven't read. Nope, it's 6. I can't count. And then, can you see the witchy shelf? I think you can see the witchy shelf a little bit, but I think all of the books on this shelf I've read, I believe. Yes, so that's good. All right, then moving down again on that shelf, obviously we have my Veronica Speedwell shelf and it looks so beautiful. And the only book that I haven't read on here is not a Veronica Speedwell book, so, and that is The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I am, again, planning to read this very soon, like next week, kind of soon. And then on this shelf I have just like YA fantasy type books. So I have not read Powerful by Lauren Roberts. I honestly don't know if I plan on reading Powerful by Lauren Roberts. I've not decided yet if I want to like continue with this series or not. I don't know. I feel like I've heard very mixed reviews of Reckless. So I'm like, do I care enough to continue the series? I'm not sure. Like Powerless was really fun when I read it, but I'm like, do I want to continue? I don't know. I want to know your guys' thoughts on this, if you've read it. This one or Reckless, let me know. And then I think the only other one on this shelf that I have not read is, of course, at the bottom. If I could get it out. This book's so textured. And that is Where the Dark Stands Still by A.B. Poranek. This is again a book that I plan on getting back to because I did previously start this. I don't know how far I made it, but I was liking it. But I just like put it down and never picked it up again, as one does. And then this shelf down here is a bunch of like Greek lit things, which I think I've read all of these. I think, because all of them are like for classes that I took, so I'm pretty sure I read them all. Then, sorry, this is gonna be kind of hard because I have to stand on my chair for this. So for these 3 shelves, we have my horror shelf, my vampire shelf, and my classic shelf. I know my classic shelf is gonna be kind of sad, but we'll get to that in a minute. So let me go through these first. I know I have not read, because this is a recent acquisition. If I could grab it. No, it keeps going further back. Ooh. The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. I'm definitely going to be reading this fall. Mina and the Slayers is another book that I really want to get to, but I need to read the first one first. I think all of these I've read, but I have not read From the Dust Returned by Ray Bradbury, and I want to so badly. Look at how cool this cover is. And then I think the only other one on this shelf that I have not read is Empty Smiles because I recently bought this book. I'm really excited to get to this one though because this is like my favorite middle grade horror series, so it's gonna be so fun when I do get to it. Then as for my vampire shelf, I think I've read the majority of them aside from Mina and the Undead, which I do really want to read soon. Oh, Slaying the Vampire Conqueror by Carissa Broadbent. I have also not read this one, but I think it'll be really fun when I do get to it. Then we have my classic shelf. This one's not gonna be great. I'm gonna let you know that right now, it's not gonna be great. So I've not read the Penguin Book of Witches. I've had this one for a while. And like one of these days I'll get to it, but like it has not been the day. See, I've read all of these. I've not read The Mask of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe. But again, I'm probably gonna read it this fall. I've not read Wuthering Heights. I have this amazing like Twilight tie-in edition thing. Obviously, had to have it. Not read Jane Eyre, but I want to. I'm gonna read this book soon. Like, I need you guys to hold me to it. I will read Jane Eyre soon. I have not read A Tale of Two Cities, but I'm like, should I unhaul this one? Am I ever gonna read A Tale of Two Cities? I think I need to be real with myself here. The only problem is that, like, I annotated the first 10 pages. And then I never read any more of it. I'm gonna figure out what to do with this one, but I think I'm gonna unhaul it. I just feel like there's so many other classics that I would rather read aside from A Tale of Two Cities, you know? I've not read The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins. I have not read Anna Karenina, but I did start it. I made it 237 pages in, and I'm going to reclaim my Gandalf bookmark because I want this. Because if I get back into this, I'm gonna have to restart it. I've not read The Hound of the Baskervilles. I again have 2 copies of this book, and I haven't read it, but this one's beautiful, so we don't have to talk about it. Let's see. I've not read The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. I've not read New and Selected Poems by Mary Oliver, but this is another book that I might unhaul. I liked Mary Oliver's poem. No, I'm gonna keep this one. I'm gonna keep it. Don't worry. Don't yell at me. And then I also have The Bell Jar, which I'm reading in November for a video. And I have The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter. I told you guys this one was gonna be sad. I just love buying classics, but I apparently don't love reading them. And then we have my paperback shelf. Well, actually, I think there are some hardcovers on here. What have I not read? I have not read Lonely Castle in the Mirror. I have not read The Clackety, but I started it. So, you know, it's better than not starting it. See, I've not read The Murder at the Vicarage, but I'm reading this one really soon. A novel love story I have read, but I think I'm gonna unhaul this one because I feel like I need to stop buying romance books because I'm never gonna reread them. So I need to get them from the library, but that one was like a new release, so it's gonna be hard to get. So I need to like plan ahead better, I think. I've not read Shady Hollow, but again, I'm reading this one soon. I've not read Modern Divination, but I want to read this one in the fall. It's very spooky. I think this one got recently picked up by a traditional publisher, so good for them. And then I also have not read Happy Medium by Sarah Adler, so that's, how many books? 5, 6 books for this shelf. And then I'm pretty sure for the 2 shelves that I have that like you can't see because my chair is in front of them, I'm pretty sure I only have 2 books that I haven't read. And those 2 books would be Tower of Dawn and Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. So I think those are officially all of the unread books on my shelves. And I am out of breath. I also do have a couple of books that are like on the other shelves in my room that I have yet to read, so I thought I could show you those and add those in the total as well. So we have Trick or Treat, A History of Halloween. I started this one for Summerween, but I just haven't continued it. But I will probably continue this in October, naturally. Circe is my Patreon buddy read for the month. I just have not started it yet. And then also Spells for Forgetting. I'm reading this book for a vlog that I'm filming right now, but again, I have not started it yet. So those are the last 3 books that are on my physical TBR. So I think what I'm gonna do is kind of organize these into stacks maybe, and I'd really like to sort them by priority level and like take a picture of it maybe so I can like remember what books I have on my shelves that I really want to read. I did this kind of last year, but I did an awful job of like showing you guys in the video. I put them in stacks, but I was sitting on the floor so you couldn't see like the bottom 15 books. And like looking back on it, I'm like, what was the point? Like, what was the point? So I'm gonna do a better job at doing that this time around. So I'm gonna like do all that stuff, tally it up. I will get back to you with some numbers and stacks and whatnot. Tell me this is not the most satisfying thing ever. Because I do not want to bump these stacks too hard because I feel like they're gonna fall over on me. But guys, I have the best news. I'm so happy with myself because I just went through and I counted all of my books and I only have 64 unread books, which is amazing, honestly. Maybe you have like 5 unread books on your shelves and maybe you think this is excessive, but I'm kind of thinking that this is really good. There are 66 books in these stacks, but 2 of them are duplicates because I have like 2 copies of Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights, I believe. But not counting those duplicates, I have 64 unique titles on my physical TBR, which is very exciting, honestly. And I don't remember how many books I had last year exactly. I know it was somewhere in the 80s. So I have cut it down quite a bit. Well, like 20 books, I'd say that's a win, honestly. But I do want to quickly go find that video and see how many I had exactly. And apparently on my shelves, I have 268 books that I have read and 83 books that I have not read, which means 83. Also, I did not count how many books I have on my shelves currently because that sounds like a lot of work, but I would assume I have like somewhere in the neighborhood of like 300-ish like unread books on my read books on my shelves, but 83 last year, 64 this year. I think my goal last year was to get it under 50. Clearly that didn't happen, but I feel like taking it down almost 20 books is really good, and I am very happy with myself. But I did go through a couple of minutes ago and sort these into different priority levels, so I thought I could kind of show you those. The first one being books that like I'm reading these very, very soon. Within the next month, I will have these books read, and I cannot wait to get to all of these. Then I have all of the books that I'm planning to read this fall. Obviously, these are not all of the books that I want to read this fall, but these are the ones from my physical TBR that I'm thinking at the current moment I want to read this fall. And then I have all of the books that I would like to read before just the end of the year in general. Obviously, I have a lot of fantasy in this stack because November and December are some of my favorite times of the year to read fantasy books. And then I have what is essentially the rest of them, which are just books that I want to read, you know, eventually. Don't know when. There's a lot of them. I have not bothered to kind of sort those into their own priority levels. I am just actually very happy with the outcome of this video. I feel like 64 could be a lot worse, so I'm really happy about that. I never really want my physical TBR to get down to like 0 anyway. I feel like when I was on like a somewhat strict-ish book buying ban, I think I have yet to actually go like a full month without buying a book. I am not good at book buying bans, but I feel like when I do try to restrict my book buying too much, it just kind of zaps the fun out of reading, because I love going to pick up new releases and just like books that I find that are maybe like backlist titles, but I'm really interested in them and I can't get them from the library. And if I want to read the book, I'm like, obviously I gotta go get the book. Again, there's like a balance that needs to be struck with it, obviously. You don't want to just like go absolutely nuts, but I never want to just like not have any books on my shelves that I can choose from, you know? I feel like I have a solid selection right now. I have so many books that I'm really excited about. I have so many books that I know for a fact I want to get to, and I just feel like there aren't too many and there aren't too few. So solid results from this physical TBR update. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I always really enjoy filming these videos. It's just a different kind of video that I don't normally get to film. Like, we're up, moving around, doing that kind of stuff. I just think it's fun, so I hope you guys enjoyed as well. Also, before we go, I would like to thank everybody over on my Patreon. If you are ever looking for more content from me, that is always linked down below. But with all that being said, I am going to let you guys go. So thank you so much for being here and watching this video. I hope you're all having an amazing Monday or whatever day it is that you're watching this video. And I will see you in my next video. I'm so excited for my next video because it's going to be fall adjacent and it's going to be good. So I will see you guys then.